Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and finally got a little bit of time today to sit down and play a bit more with some alcohol inks. I had an idea in the back of my head about what I wanted to create and decided to go with a green theme since St. Patrick's Day is coming up this weekend, but you could totally do this in any color combo. So to start off with, I have this pearl mixative here, and any of the mixatives, I kind of point out there, the pigment likes to settle in the bottom and you need to shake the ever-living heck out of these bottles because the pigment settles and there is actually a little ball bearing inside the bottle. You need to shake it until you hear that ball bearing loosen and then shake it up until all the pigment is, mixed in and dispersed. You only need to do that with mixatives. You don't need to do it with any of the other regular alcohol inks. They're good to go. So once I had my mixative shaken up, I've opened all 3 bottles of alcohol ink that I want to use, and I'm using LIMEADE, Botanical, and Bottle alcohol inks. And I have a piece of YUPO paper here. This is like alcohol ink paper, just good for it. And I'm working on just my little glass craft mat, and I'm just dropping the inks directly onto the paper. I'm kind of experimenting here. I wasn't totally sure how this was going to turn out, but it's just fun to play with them. So after I just kind of dropped all the colors and then mixed it onto it, I'm just using my little color. This is my marker spritzer tool. I'm using it because you can get, that concentrated little burst of air. So you can kind of move the colors around with it. So I did that. And then you can see it's almost completely dry. So I'm going to add some of the alcohol ink blending solution, and it just automatically starts to, move around and all that stuff. So I'm just going to keep kind of going back and forth between adding more drops of alcohol ink, a little bit more of the mixative, the alcohol ink blending solution, until I'm kind of happy with how this looks. So I'm just playing around and experimenting, and that's kind of the joy of these things, is they kind of have a mind of their own, but when you experiment with different ways to use them, they kind of turn out different. So I did not end up using the felt applicator there that I've got in the lower left. I was originally going to use that, but I was finding that I was really happy with just kind of dropping everything directly onto the YUPO paper here. I'll also have a link at the end of the video, my little swatch tags there on screen. I did a video showing how I made those and how I've labeled everything, and that helps a lot to see the colors. That's how I was able to pick out the colors I wanted to use, colors that would work well together. So, like I said, I went with the greens because of St. Patrick's Day, but you could totally do this, in pinks or blues or rainbow colors would look nice. I also pulled out my hairdryer, and I have it on a cool setting, and I was just using it to kind of speed up the drying process. Tim Holtz did a video the other day doing some fun little plastic Easter eggs, and he has this adorable little fan that he was using on his desk. I don't have anything like that, so I just use my hairdryer. So once everything's dry, I'm going to die cut this with the largest basic rectangle die from Simon's Stamp. This is an A2 size die, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'm also going to die cut a heart from that. So it's one of the Wafer dies, also from Simon. This is the nested heart die. And I just used a little bit of purple tape just to hold that in place so I can die cut it all in one pass through my GEMINI machine. And I'm going to flip that around, and then I'm going to run that through my machine. So as I was doing the background, I was like, I could probably get 2 cards out of this if I, die cut something from the center. I was originally going to do a circle, but then I was like, ooh, a heart would look really cute. So ran that through my machine, carefully removed that purple tape, and now I have 2 pieces with this fun alcohol ink. So now I need to go on to my sentiment. So I have my little Xyron Creative Station light here, and I pulled out the 5-inch permanent refill adhesive. And I just put in my little 3-inch refill because I had figured out that that's all I would need, and I could, cover my pieces of cardstock and glitter paper with that adhesive and not waste any excess. So I have 2 pieces of glitter paper here. This is Simon's glitter paper. I decided on the greens, even though the white glitter paper would have looked really nice too, especially over the heart, but I had to use the greens. I was in a very green mood today. So I ran those through my machine, so now they're backed with adhesive, and I'd also done that with several sheets of white cardstock, all of which I'm going to die cut with that Lucky to Know You wafer die. And as of filming this video and posting this, this one is actually on sale. I'll have a link to it in the description box below the video. But yeah, Simon has this one on sale along with a few other things. So I've had this idea for this card in the back of my head for the last couple of weeks, so I finally need to just sit down and make it already. So I've got my glitter paper with that adhesive on the back, ran that through my GEMINI Junior with the Lucky to Know You die. And then the white pieces there, I had die cut 2 layers of each So there's actually already, and I already stacked them off camera because you guys don't need to sit there and watch me do this over and over and over again. So I've already stacked those layers. So each one is 2 layers of cardstock thick right now. And then I'm going to put my glitter piece on top of that. So I just peel off the backing and expose the adhesive and then press this on top. And I just love how the light is catching that glitter. It just makes me happy. So we just keep peeling it off. And I'm using my reverse tweezers as well. That kind of helps so that I'm not constantly getting caught on all these little pieces. And I've said this before, I really like this adhesive because you have a ton of wiggle room. Like I can move things around. It's not till you press down that it becomes like a permanent bond. So I don't have to, you know, stress out like I do sometimes with liquid adhesive and, you know, move a lot faster. I can kind of take my time with this and make sure everything's layered. And it especially works with big sentiments like this with a lot of pieces. So now I've got both my sentiments stacked with the white cardstock and the glitter paper, and now I'm going to adhere my alcohol ink backgrounds to my card bases. My card bases, standard heavyweight white cardstock, cut to 4 1/4 by 11 inches and scored at 5 1/2. So these will be top folding A2 size cards. So I adhered the solid panel there with the heart opening to the one card base, and then I'm going to adhere the die cut heart to the second card base. And then as I was doing this, I was like, well, I'm going to have a little bit of time here to line up all of these sentiments because there are so many different pieces, you know, to them. So I was like, okay, this might take a while. But then I decided to I peeled off all the backing, left them in the scrap, like the release cardstock that I'm going to toss, and then just carefully kind of lined this up over my card front. And just, you know, kind of eyeballed it, made sure it was straight. And then I'm pressing down on just the letters because I've kind of exposed all adhesive. So those can kind of be held into place. And then I can just peel up all of this white cardstock that was kind of holding everything in place and remove that. So with this first one, it took a little bit of fiddling because I wasn't sure exactly what I was doing. And I had left the centers in, you know, the O and the K, etc. Like, because I was just messing around. But I was able, because I hadn't pressed it down completely yet, I was able to kind of peel it up and then remove those centers with my reverse tweezers here. Again, said this before, if you do not own a pair of these reverse tweezers, you should get some. I have 2 pairs. They like to grow legs and walk away. I should probably get 6 more. But I use them all the time. They're wonderful. So I removed the centers, pressed everything down. Now that's adhered. So now that I figured it out the first time, the second time went even faster. I made sure to remove all the centers to the letters first, peeled off all that backing to expose adhesive, lined it up, pressed down just the letters, and then gently kind of wiggled away all that excess cardstock there. And now my sentiment is perfectly lined up, perfectly spaced, and that saved me a ton of time. So I love when things like this work out. So now I've got both of my card fronts, and now you can see, like, if I'd done the white glitter or the black glitter cardstock on the card on the right over the heart, that would have looked amazing too. But green, everything's green right now. Green is the theme. So I pulled out the Simon Says stamp, Loving Hearts stamp set. This was released some time ago as well. And the sentiments just went really well with that, with the die cut sentiment on the front. So the one on the left says, "Thank you for always showing me how much I'm loved." And then the second one says, "A special friend like you is a gift." I thought that went really well with the "Lucky to Know You" on the front. So I stamped those with Simon's Lucky ink. Just fitting. And I pulled out a few more of their green inks, and there was little hearts in that stamp set. So I'm just inking them up with the different greens and just kind of stamping them around the sentiment to kind of just pull it all in together. And of course, I couldn't leave well enough alone. I had to add one more embellishment. I wanted to use the new Studio Claudia Iridescent Stars embellishments. I've been just like raving about these. All the new iridescent things she released are just fabulous. So I sprinkled a few of these onto each card, and then once I was able to contain myself, I'm going to adhere them into place with Simon's Craft Tacky Glue, and I'm just going to pick these up with my little jewel picker, put down a little tiny dab of that glue, and then press each little embellishment into place. And then as that glue dries, these are just adhered really well down onto the cards. And that's going to finish off my cards for today. So I will have a link below the video to my blog post. I'll have links to all of the supplies used. So you can check out the description box below the video as well as on my blog. I'll have all that info there for you guys. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping and commenting on my videos. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye.